How did I end up going from being a god to a fast food employee? Dealing with the furies of the general public. Some of them make even the Techrot enjoyable to be around. Man, I swear to what happened to this internet? Rex! What's the matter with you? The entire world can hear you crashing. Huh? Oh, sorry, man. I just had it up to here with this internet. I get it's 1999, but ever since I got this mixtape, something weird has been happening. Rex? Are you feeling okay? Well, aside from not being able to get some pop songs out of my head for the past 3 weeks, I feel pretty fine. I even found this sick-looking guitar in a dumpster next to some avocados. Have you recently looked into a mirror by any chance? No. Did those avocados go right through me? See for yourself. Ah! My trip! Inaros, we gotta do something. What do you want me to do? I don't know. You're an expert at this kind of thing. Come on. You're Murmur. You sound Murmur. Hey, where are you from again? Uncalled for. If we weren't roommates, I'd send you to the indifference myself.
A 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wait,
What?
why are you holding your bass up high like that?
I get better finger action this way.
But you look like a nerd. Move it back down.
Move the bass down.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to the Rexperience, the only show relying on references from 2000s media for an intro sequence. One that did not age well in retrospect. Or, well, it could be worse. As a matter of fact, it could even be a nightmare. Is that joke still going to be relevant by the time this video is out?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now that I angered the entire fan base of a channel that I will never have a chance of even coming close to surpassing, what has changed since the last time I made a video? Well, we got a new Warframe, who is the topic of today's video, if you couldn't tell already. We got some new augments, some being just band-aid mods, others being Corvex. We have new endgame content, that being in the form of temporal media, like the Deimos alternative, but 1999, and higher levels. But we got these stickers!
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it.
On top of that, we also received a total of 17 new weapons. 4 Skuldra weapons, and 13 Technosite Coda weapons. What's that, I hear you ask? Years ago, we were introduced to an adversary system that allowed us to obtain new versions of older weapons. Mainly weapons that can't be primed, for lore reasons. As of now, we have adversaries for the 3 main factions, Vernier, Corpus, and now Infested. Though the archetypes of these adversaries are interesting, to say the least, I still can't get past the idea that there was someone at the board meeting and they were just like, okay, so far, we have guerrilla warfare that can either be goofy or stern.
Arms, legs, organs. There is nothing you can take from me that I cannot replace.
And we got the IRS, but they flirt with you like you're in one of those self-insert slop anime.
You know, I'm not very sure how many of us it'd take to kick your bottom.
What do you have for the Infested? What ideas can we come up with? Only for the intern to look at their playlist and go, I got you, the Backstreet Boys. And now we have the Chud Sons known as Online.
I just want to do something worth remembering.
Come to think of it, they were probably had something to do with my predicament. But back to the topic at hand. Temple, our 60th Warframe, and holy shit, they are so sick. Before I get too hyped, how do you even get them? If you want to get them legit, you're gonna have to do the new defense mission in 1999, featuring good music, major spoilers, and my new favorite enemy in the game.
Techrot bleeds for me!
I call him Salvador. So what exactly does Temple do? Well, first, you might notice this giant needle in the center of your screen. This is called Backbeat, and it's one of those passives that the entire kit revolves around. Every second or so, the needle will pass through this zone on the meter. If any of their 4 abilities are casted while the needle is within this zone, it will be casted at a reduced energy cost and be granted a bonus effect. We'll call this feature On Beat because, well, yeah, that explains it enough. Some things to note that Temple doesn't need to always cast their abilities on beat, but you are heavily rewarded for doing so. You might have noticed that little bar in the on beat zone fill as your abilities are casted. Save that thought for later, we'll circle back to it.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
Temple's first ability is called Pyrotechnics. Upon casting, they will summon pillars of fire under the enemy's feet. This ability auto-locks onto enemies, so aiming isn't all that important. This ability also hits like a truck, with 1,000 damage at base, and a guaranteed heat proc being applied to the enemy. If you don't know why that's a good thing, then to put it shortly,
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Pyrotechnics also grants effects to Ripper's Wail and Exalted Solo that we will cover when we get to their respective sections. Lastly, this is Temple's Helmet ability, meaning that you can slot this ability onto other Warframes. If you have Arcane Hotshot, it might not be a bad choice, but considering what you have to go through to actually get Temple, legitimately that is, yeah, I don't really think it's that worth it. You could also swap this ability off of Temple if you wanted to give them some sort of helmet ability. Just be aware that Ripper's Wail is in the same category as Roar or Eclipse, meaning if you want, for example, Roar, you would have to swap out their third ability, which I'm getting ahead of myself.
I can't wait to eat my toe slap. That's it, I'm breaking the sound barrier.
Temple's second ability, Overdrive, allows Temple to be a very viable weapons platform, at least partly. Upon casting, Temple summons speakers that blast enemies with sound waves that deal heat damage. This damage isn't nearly as high as their first ability, not by a long shot, but the true strength of this ability comes from its debuff. Enemies hit by Overdrive are deafened. Deafened enemies are 25% more susceptible to crits at its base stats. Basically, if you see someone with this ring around them, they're gonna take a lot more yellow numbers. Or orange. Or red. Or a lot of exclamation points.
Now that's a lot of damage!
To add to that, the crit vulnerability scales off of strength, and its value is doubled when casting the ability on beat. It lasts for a while too, a whopping 20 seconds at base that also scales with duration. Meaning you can deal red crits on enemies pretty easily, and the enemies will most likely die before the debuff runs out. unless it's HVT, like a Legacy, for example. Something I will say is I was a little bit disappointed that this ability wasn't a silence. The wording used in the dev stream to describe the ability functions implied a silence function. At least that's how I took it. Plus, it would be nice to have another way to proc said debuff. To put it simply, Banshee has an ability called, well, silence. That is a feature which prevents enemies from casting abilities. It ignores Overguard, making it a very slept-on option for Steel Path. Am I saying Temple needs a silence? No. But it would make for a pretty cool augment idea. Something like Overdrive silences enemies. Enemies that are killed while affected by Overdrive explode, spreading the debuff for the rest of its duration. But this ability is already good enough as it is, so I don't really see that one happening.
Oh boy, I hopes this is Evil Burger, I say. I stood there in shock as my burger started busting a move. It was Funky Burger.
Temple's third ability, Ripper's Wail, grants Temple an invulnerability window that rapidly heals them and tops off their overshields for 3 seconds. After their emo, they gain a heat damage buff that is also granted to allies, similar to buffs like Shock Trooper or Fireball Frenzy. This effect actually goes away once you step out of its radius, which is your affinity range, similar to other abilities like Chroma's Elemental Ward or his Vex Armor, meaning you have to be within the radius in order to actually keep the buff. But that's not all. Temple's 3... Hi, Billy Mays! But that's not all Temple's 3 is good for. This buff can actually be extended and amplified beyond its base value by casting your 1 and 2 on beat. The cap is a 60-second duration and 750% heat damage bonus, but the duration is infinitely refreshable. So as long as you keep spamming your abilities, then you shouldn't need to ever recast the ability for the sake of the buff. If you do recast the ability, you do refresh the buff. So, unless you stop paying attention, should be fine. Not speaking from experience at all.
My precious Michael, I slammed my fucking balls on a closing door.
Let me ask you a question. Do you like flamethrowers? Do you like exalted weapons? I'd hope the answer to both of those are yes, especially because with this update, we got a ton of exalted buffs that are beyond the scope of this. Because we end off Temple's kit on their 4th ability, Exalted Solo. So, throughout this video, and perhaps your time with Temple, you may have noticed this bar fill up as you cast abilities on beat. This meter is used as your fuel for Lizzie. Temple's guitar slash flamethrower, don't question it. The flamethrower itself is really strong and is great for clearing out trash mobs, like a flamethrower does. It has some really good crit chance and status chance, as well as crit damage as well, and is pure heat damage at base. And has a it has an alt fire as an ability. Basically, when you aim down sights with Lizzie, your abilities change. They become these energy waves that are meant to debuff enemies. These waves are viral, corrosive, cold, and magnetic over your 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. If you cast Lizzie or energy waves on beat, they're free. The waves also force proc impact, and if casted on beat, they proc 3 stacks of their respective wave as well as impact, which isn't bad. Far from it, actually. But I happen to play on controller, so the input for these waves feels very clunky and forced, so I personally don't use it aside from the cold wave for certain enemies. I'm sure if you have certain layouts and button mapping, you can do some crazy stuff with it, especially on mouse and keyboard. But I run Blast and Electric on my Lizzie, and I'm still able to basically just do whatever I need to. Overall, I say Temple is a great pick. They offer great damage, good support from their buff and debuff, and they have a sick-ass exalted weapon. I don't really like frames that rely on spamming their abilities over and over again, which is typically why I don't like running brief or spite setups. Never had that much fun feeling like I need to hit him with the in Super Smash Bros. Button mash combo.
You just not up smash. Oh, happy feet. Wombo combo. That ain't Falco. That ain't Falco.
But yeah, despite that, I love playing them. which is funny. I don't feel like I need to mash all the time, but that is definitely a playstyle that works very well with them. One small problem, though. Have you seen my skin? Yeah, so I may or may not have found this online CD in the dumpster while I was dumpster diving, and now have some zombie boy band hunting me down, and they have my skin. Literally. Now I want my skin suit back, so let's take this show to the skies, shall we? Cue the music! We're making it out of the dark ether with this one.
All my old friends from school are hitting me up for
things are about to get bloody.
Oh, you're a total bud, man. I am who I am. It's not like I'm trying to change that or anything.
Take my body, my bones, and worst of all, my nectar. I'll show you what a badass is. Yeah! Yeah! Serves you right for giving me the ick! I'm getting a quesadilla after this. So tired of party for your lifetime.
Meanwhile,
Another day, another dollar. Seems awfully quiet. Rex! What are you up to? Oh, you left a note. Hey, Sam. Went to space to steal my skin back from Zombie Boy Band. If the computer is on, please turn off before Ali breaks my fingers again. Probably will stop for tacos. Left Chevron 3 Rexy. PS. PC might sprout wings and kill you. Okay, turn off the computer. Can't read that hard. Oh? Male War Detected. Is that bad? Sounds bad. I'm sure Rex will.
3 hours later.
Okay, I think that did it. Now to turn this thing off and I can go back to my book. In peace. Sandman! I'm home! Just when I was getting used to the... Is that the cheesy gordita crunch you have? Yep. With pollo?
Si, senor.
I'm sorry I ever doubted you. By the way, I got rid of the thing on your PC. Oh, the malware. Malware? That's how you say it. And Naros, how the are you in this dimension and not know what malware is? My law is for another day, Rex. Didn't you live through the Oregon Empire? Since when did we... Whatever. Can I help you? This is Dr. Edward Porter, Head of Research and Development at, in charge of overseeing Project REX. This tape is for internal use only. Anyone caught leaking any information will be exterminated immediately. Yes, you heard correctly. The purpose of this recording is to catch up to new scientists transferring from the facility. We are aware of the outbreak that has occurred, and the company is working on getting it sorted out. However, those of you who survived are now being tasked with assistance on Project Rex. Spoiler alert, one of the subjects within the project was responsible for said outbreak. So, instead of dealing with you, the board thought it would be a great idea if we hired you on for some extra manpower. Now, what exactly is Project Rex? Well, the precise purpose of this project is classified. The name actually means raw ethereal xenome. These xenomes, as we call them, are life forms that are able to transfer their consciousness into other realms like streams of data. We know they use some sort of ethereal elemental compound for such process, called... Through our continuous research we have been able to recreate this process to an extent. Though trials have been underwhelming, to say the least. So far, we are only able to transfer artificial beings within simulations handcrafted to withstand such unstable energies. Currently, we are in the clinical trial phase of the planting these Rexes, as some call them, into the units. It will be brief when the time is right. For now, the xenomes are your priority. I'll be meeting with each one of your teams in the coming months for status updates. Looking forward to working with you. Please don't make us regret this.